Hi, I'm AJ Freed, and this pandemic has affected so many people, including us.
And I'm Michele, and I appreciate the people who are still on the front lines. Good morning, Melfa. Today is day 38 of the coronavirus quarantine. Please rise and join us for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This past week saw a lot of action, including, sadly, the cancellation of the spring musical and the spring sports season. Our hearts go out to all the members of Skull and Bones and all the athletes at loss of their season.
Wednesday was also Earth Day. Now, sadly, going outdoors and being surrounded by nature may not be the best idea at this moment in time, but it is still a time to celebrate the planet that we live on and the well-being of the planet.
Now, AJ, I know that you have mentioned before that COVID-19 affects many people in the community.
Ah, so you were listening.
Of course I was.
You would be right, Michele. With that said, BMB's Rocco Law looked on how the coronavirus has affected industries spanning from schools to businesses.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected millions of Americans' daily lives, spanning from schools to businesses and to personal life. For more than 6 grinding weeks, schools have been completely shut down, forcing teachers and students to transition to remote online learning. According to English teacher Mr. Morris, it is certainly a big transition.
I think it's been a learning process for everybody. A lot of us have used Google Classroom, students and teachers, for one, but it's certainly different, trying to run a classroom through the internet. And I think that for teachers and for students, we had to figure out how to kind of set schedules for ourselves. We do miss each other and we want to reach out constantly, but we have had to kind of set a schedule for ourselves.
Although teachers see it from one side, the students have an entirely new learning system that they have to adapt to as well.
It wasn't a terrible transition, I don't think. The hardest part was probably just, every teacher uses a different platform. So kind of remembering to check everything and staying on top of everything at first. But kind of once you get used to it and get a system in place, I think it wasn't a terrible transition.
This global pandemic may have shut down in-school learning for the time being, but Mr. Morris still gives a great level of appreciation to the fact that he's still able to work.
So fortunate, as difficult as this has been, in our world of education, we've been very fortunate. And I recognize that.
Schools have not been the only victim to be subdued by the coronavirus. Businesses around the country have either closed or have had to majorly adjust their activities due to the pandemic. Home Depot employee Mark Goldman explained some of the many changes that have had to be made in the workforce.
At Home Depot, they've tried to protect both the employees and the customers. The biggest thing they did was they closed all the entrances except one. So everybody goes in and out of one entrance and they control the number of people coming into the store. So they limit, for example, the store that I work in Bayshore, they limit it to 100 people at a time. And then all the employees were provided with masks and gloves and their own personal bottle of hand sanitizer.
With no end in sight for when the effects of COVID-19 will no longer be affected, the country and community anxiously waits to return to their daily lives. From North Bellmore, for BMB, I'm Rocco Law.
One way this pandemic is affecting people is the way people have fun. With that said, BMB is producing the Break the Cabin Fever game night, which features contestants all across the district. Casey Farr sits down with one of our hosts, Luke Melfa, to talk about the game show in this week's virtual Around Campus.
Thanks. Welcome to this week's Around Campus. I'm joined with one of the hosts for the BMB Break the Cabin Fever game show, Luke Melfa. How are you doing today, Luke?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. What will the format of this game show be?
So we're going to be having at least 3 games occurring. It's not going to go over an hour. So 3 games, and then while those games are taking place, we're going to be having like phone-ins from people, say principals or certain family members that just want to like call in and root their team on, stuff like that, just normal game show stuff.
And what kind of games will the participants be doing during this game?
Yes. So without giving anything away, because I don't.
Obviously.
Oh my God, I don't really know what's going to be happening, but we're going to be like saying for the participants to make stuff and then send pictures in, or find something in their house and then send a picture in that way. Just stuff like that.
Okay. And how can other people in the community watch this show?
So we're going to be live streaming it on YouTube at the BMB YouTube page. So there'll probably be a link sent out, or if there isn't, you could just go to BMB on YouTube and watch from there.
And what do you think the importance of an event like this is during quarantine, bringing everyone together in the community?
I think with everybody so physically far apart, a game, just a community event like this can really bring people together despite it being online and all virtual. And I think that hypothetical closeness can just make people feel better about the situation, maybe give hope. I think fun activities to do, just doing something during this whole thing is probably the best thing to do, rather than just sit around doing nothing. So should be fun.
And last but not least, are you excited to be a host of this?
Oh, of course. I've always wanted to be a game show host. Like, always wanted to be, Price is Right guy. So, or the Wheel of Fortune. I've always wanted to spin a wheel. I think that'd be pretty sick. But, I got this, so I'm happy.
We're looking at the next Alex Trebek, if I had to say so. Thank you again, Luke. Make sure to go catch the B&B Break the Cabin Fever game show on Friday night. Now back to AJ and Michele.
Thanks, Casey. The Earth is home to so many wonderful people working together to do good in the world, and recently doctors have been working the hardest to help those suffering from the terrible virus. Even doctors who have specialties outside of immunology and working diligently to help those in need. Haley Hepworth got to talk with a cardiologist who has inserted himself in the situation and is helping others as we speak.
The coronavirus has disturbed everyone's daily life. Kids no longer have to go to school, adults don't have to visit work, but for doctors, they have it completely different. Dr. Goldman is a cardiologist and has been working endless hours to make sure people are staying safe.
First, had to basically close down offices because we were afraid to have patients come in and get us sick, or for us to get them sick by them being in our offices by other patients who were there. So we were trying to do as much as we could over the phone, or trying to do video visits, which at that point in time, it was really not possible to do because patients can't figure it out. And we were having a hard time figuring it out. So it was a lot of basically phone calls trying to make sure people were okay and answer their problems the best we could.
Dr. Goldman takes us through what precautions doctors must take during this pandemic.
Right now you see I'm wearing scrubs like I go to the hospital. You show up and there's a table in the front of the hospital where they give you a pair of hospital scrubs and masks and hats and any equipment and face shields and things that you might need. And then you go up and change from one pair of scrubs, and I'm changing into another pair of scrubs and putting on all of my gear. I currently am wearing this crazy gas mask-like thing, which a colleague of mine was kind enough to give me because those N95 masks hurt. I don't know if you can see my nose is all red and horrible because the masks are actually, they wear away the skin on your nose. They're terrible to wear for a whole shift. And because I'm in an ICU literally full of patients, every single one of those people has COVID-19, we have to stay in our gear all day long. So we put on our head coverings and our masks and our face shields and all of it and a gown, and you're there all day long.
Goldman also has a word of advice for people that want to help the hospitals during this hard time.
Hoarding stuff is not good. So people who are buying up all of these masks, which are now starting to cause shortages with hospital systems trying to get masks, that's not good. We need the equipment because, I personally stay in my equipment all day long because I am in one of those units where the entire unit, there's no walls, it's just curtains. So we're in it all day long. Other people are not, and they actually have to change their masks and their gowns and things like that all the time. So hoarding equipment is a bad thing because really the healthcare workers need it more than anyone else.
Many see doctors as heroes for sacrificing their health and safety during this tough time.
It's funny because before this, it's like the actors and actresses and the sports people, they're the heroes. And now the these people come out in these videos thanking the doctors and the nurses for being there. I mean, people are exposing their families to this by being there taking care of these patients who are really, really sick.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're also people who are in usual jobs in offices or on nicer floors, not dealing with such sick people, who are putting themselves at risk going into these units where they can bring it home to their families.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently in a downstairs bedroom because I don't want to be near my wife and my kids. So I'm trying to isolate from them as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really nice to actually be appreciated for what we're doing.
Yeah. Doctors all around the world ask you to do your part. Social distance, wash your hands, and stay 6 feet apart from others. And for BMB, I'm Haley Hepworth.
Thanks, Haley. Of course, with doctors comes health. Now for your friendly BMB reminder to stay safe, keep your distance, and stay at home.
And while you're at home, you can check out the BMB YouTube page that features midweek updates as well as the daily coronavirus reports. And tonight, like we mentioned before, it's the live game show which you don't want to miss.
Getting outside and enjoying the fresh spring air is always a good idea as long as you social distance. Here's Ava with the weather.
Good morning, Mepham. I'm Ava Chef, cooking up a storm here with your weekend forecast. This weekend is not going to be too great, I'm not going to lie, but it's not like you're going anywhere, so there's nothing really to complain about. Friday is going to be a high of 49 degrees and a low of 43 degrees with rain mostly all day. It might stop for a while and be a little sunny and then go back to raining, but it's just not going to be a great day. Saturday, there's going to be a high of 55 and a low of 46, which is a little bit warmer, and it's not supposed to rain, but it's going to be cloudy, so it's not like you can go outside and tan or anything, but that doesn't mean you can't go for a walk or do anything like that. Sunday, there's going to be a high of 56 and a low of 44 with rain all day, so not only is it rainy all day, but it's rainy and humid, so it's not the best weekend, but you can stay inside as we've all been doing. Make sure you guys practice social distancing, and if you're super bored, tonight there is going to be the first ever B&B game show with one of your hosts, Ava Scheffler, and your other host, Luke Melfa. I hope to see you guys there, and have a great weekend, Mepham.
Thanks, Ava. And remember that going outside and enjoying the sunshine is alright, as long as you take the necessary safety precautions.
Now for this week's quote of the week. Compassion is an action word with no boundaries.
These have been the BMB Mini Morning Announcements for Friday, April 24th.
Have a great day, Mepham.